All right, welcome to Life Fit with DVD. Welcome back. Thanks for being here. Today, I wanted to discuss a bit of a mental model similar to yesterday, where I was outlining the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset and how you can apply it to your life to basically shift perspectives and get into a better attitude and belief system, just the awareness of having those things, um, so that you can shift your perspective into something a little bit more beneficial to what you want to achieve, where you want to go, and how you're creating in your life. So today I wanted to discuss the mental model of the Eisenhower Matrix, and you might be familiar with this. It's quite simple. So I've used it in the past to basically list all of your tasks, right? If you're busy, if you have all these things that you need to do, it can be hard to prioritize what is, what you need to do in that moment. What is going to be the most effective? What is going to get the most bang for your buck in terms of getting things done, feeling like you're accomplishing things, and identifying the things that are going to just make you feel like you're getting the most done. Um, so what you do basically is, if you have all of these tasks, you can do this in a note-taking app or something else. Uh, a piece of paper is just fine, but basically you just draw a box, right? Divide it into four quadrants, right? It can be simple square, rectangle, whatever. Divide it in half, divide it vertically and horizontally, and then at the top you can write, in the top quadrant, right? You can write urgent and important, and then you go over a quadrant and you can write urgent but not important, and then you go down to the third quadrant, just like you're reading, and say urgent and not important. And in the fourth quadrant, you can say not urgent and not important. And by dividing these things up into boxes, you can go through each of the tasks that you have and look at them and say, is this urgent? Is this important? And you answer these questions, and this can help you filter where you're placing your priorities in your life, because ultimately what you're going to find is things that you might think are important tasks, such as like a show that you want to watch, or just ideas sometimes that you think would be a good thing to do, um, or they feel urgent, aren't actually that urgent or that important. And ultimately, this is a subjective model based on how you are classifying these things, right? Something might feel important or it might feel urgent, but it's actually not. How are you going to define urgency? Like, is this something that if you don't get it done today, is going to have a detrimental effect on your life? Or if you don't do it today, well, can it wait a few days? Is it something that's going to make your life worse if you don't classify it as urgent? Because what I find is there's a lot of things that we find that feel like they are urgent, but they really aren't. They won't make our lives worse if we don't do them in that moment, that day. And really, it's more of a stress that we're putting upon ourselves, or it'll feel stressful because we haven't resolved it. Usually, these are tasks that are like, you know, working with other people, where you might feel a responsibility to get back to them in an appropriate manner, or appropriate time frame. But ultimately, just like people are late for things sometimes, like this is a matter of priorities. So personally, I like to respect other people's time, so a lot of things with other people I do classify as urgent. But at the same time, most people that are understanding will understand if it takes a few days to get back on something, especially if you have bigger things that are going on that you are trying to meet deadlines. Um, so I know that this can be a hard thing because especially if you're working for yourself or you're creating for yourself, you're going to have deadlines for yourself. And when you don't adhere or achieve those deadlines, that can be a major stressor, right? That can be something that really can bog you down mentally and you know, lead to other bad habits or coping mechanisms. So it's important in just classifying, what's urgent and what's not, to just also have some compassion for yourself as well, and just think about it in terms of, is this going to have a detrimental effect on my day if I don't do it today? Like if you don't pay this bill today, are you going to be charged interest on what you didn't pay, right? That would be something that would be urgent. You don't pay your credit card bill today, okay, you're charged interest. So there you go. That's something that's urgent, needs to get done. So that's the urgent category. The other is important versus not important. And when you look at what is important, right, this is once again going to be a very subjective way that you are looking at things, how you're seeing the world. So what is important to me is not going to be the same thing that's important to you. However, if you put yourself in the mindset of, what do I want to create? What do I have to do on a regular basis that needs to get done so that everybody else can function, right? That's important. That's a very important thing. So usually there's going to be a balance of importance here between things that are important to you but are also important to other people in your life, such as your spouse, your children, your animals, that sort of thing. The people that depend on you to what is important or not. And I know that this can be a hard thing to kind of differentiate what is urgent and important to you versus what is urgent and important to somebody else. But this is why we're dividing these things into categories, because ultimately what we want to do from this sort of activity is to get the things that are in the important and urgent category. Once we get everything written out, we're going to want to prioritize the urgent and the important. Now, I hear some people say, okay, take everything else and just throw it away. Just completely ignore the other three quadrants. However, I don't necessarily think that's the best thing, but the main thing about this is you prioritize the things that are urgent and important, and the things that are not urgent and not important are the things that you can just ignore, right? Throw it away. Just don't even think about it again, right? This can free up a lot of bandwidth, just like a computer, when we throw out a bunch of things that are on our mind. Just like the CPU that gets freed up when there's not a whole lot of space going on. That will help clear your mind a bit to focus on that urgent and important section. So with the other two sections, so the things that are not urgent but they are important, right? These are the things that you prioritize for another day. Maybe you can schedule them going ahead. Put them on a calendar. Just because something is not urgent doesn't mean it doesn't have to get done, right? That's why it's important. And that is ultimately what you can schedule, whether it be something with another person or just put on your calendar and when it does have some free time, and let go of it in the now, and once again focus on that urgent and important section. So then the last one is the urgent but not important. So these are usually the trivial tasks that need to get done, the day-to-day stuff um, that maybe it's something that's important for other people in your life that depend on you, but it's not necessarily the most important thing for you, especially when you have some time. So the question is, can you push this? Uh, there's another rule that if you can do something within 2 minutes, just do it, right? But if it's something that takes more than 2 minutes, you might as well push it to a time where you have a little bit more bandwidth, whether that be at night or the question is, how far can you push it, right? How far um, does that can you push that urgent thing before it does shift into the important category? So once again, this is the urgent and the not important section. So once again, these can be just tasks that you need to get done, day-to-day operation sort of thing. Um, like if you are trying to think of a good example, um, you know, like I do, I purify my water, and in the process of purifying the water, um, usually I want to make sure that we're getting that water in a and I have lots of backups, so really isn't a great great example, but I always try to make sure that we're fully stocked on a day-to-day basis. So it's just it's really not something that's that urgent. But if I go a few days without you know running the purifier, then we will be out of fresh purified water after a few days. So I always try to make sure that I stay on it, and that I'm not letting it go too long before I do that whole task. And that's definitely not a great example. There's definitely better ones that could work out as something that's way more urgent. Maybe just look at paying your credit card, but maybe that's not important. Maybe that's something that can wait a day or two, depending on when the deadline is. But if the deadline is today, it's definitely urgent and important. So I hope looking at this kind of mental model here, the Eisenhower Matrix, can potentially help you make some better decisions for prioritizing tasks when you're trying to create and move towards the things that you want to do in your life. I've found it helpful in the past, and just applied it today as well, and looking at some of the things in my life and what I'm trying to do. So I just thought I'd share that today, and let me know if you've used this before. What are the things that you're looking at that you're trying to do that are the urgent and the important things, where if you don't do these things today, you know, it's not going to feel as satisfying, and you're not really going to see it as a productive day. Be interesting to hear what you're thinking about. But if you enjoyed this, please like or subscribe. That'd mean a tremendous amount to me. And until next time, thanks for being here, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.